Adam Orduna. This is my mom, Gina. Today we're going to be talking about recruiting, or the recruiting process for new prospects going into
college.
What is known as college. And
but not just football players. We're talking about
all
girls,
over,
guys,
yes,
all over. Baseball,
all sports.
softball, volleyball.
If you are a varsity athlete within your high school, and you have been receiving letters from certain universities to potentially play sports or be on an athletic team or club, you are now being officially recruited by that school or university. So we're just going to talk about some of the things, that have conspired from what has been played out this year.
Well, clearly it's out here in February, and we're out here cold. So
It is
this
cold.
is for football and for some of the fall sports. This is National Signing Day. Just came and went.
Just wrapped up. Right.
Kind of top of mind.
Right.
It's interesting because back in my day, when you were getting recruited, you would get letters in the mail, and they did that. I came out of high school late 80s, late 80s, but there's some movies that have been made about that time, and I don't know if you remember Booby Miles. The movie was made about them,
Odessa Permian
in Texas, and in the movie you see he's got all these letters and stuff. It's been going on. Recruiting is not something brand new because now we have social media. You always would get letters from different coaches in different universities. My brother ended up playing football at the University of Nebraska, and he was getting recruiting letters. So that's always been part of the process. Being able to come and go on visits, that's always been a part of the process. Having the coaches sit in your living room, that sort of thing has always been a part of the process. But now we've got coaches, thanks to the age we live in, I'm going to blame you. That's your generation. No,
always getting blamed.
I'm a mom. I always blame you. But we now live in an age where recruiting has advanced because technology has advanced. And it's not just a coach in your living room. It's not just the letter recruiting visit. Now you have social media. You've got Twitter. I remember when texting was a big deal, and the NCAA was trying to figure out if coaches are allowed to text players.
Right. There were regulations on texting, and so I guess one of the
excuse me,
main topics, or like what you just mentioned, is there maybe something that the NCAA should do on restrictions, as it pertains to social media? Can coaches, contact athletes, via social media? Is that something that, you think they should do with that?
Well, explain to me this. What is the dead periods? Because I know, like, when the high school season's kind of end for football, let's just talk football. I mean, this applies across the board.
Sure.
But there are these dead periods where coaches are not allowed to make contact with the kids. I don't understand. What is that about? Can you help educate me on that a little bit?
Well, it's changed a lot over time. It used to be, a certain period, coaches couldn't contact athletes from, January whatever to, the beginning of this, or, even, in February, or, even in the summertime there was, at the beginning of the summer, there was like a small time there. It's honestly, it's changed from time to time, and I honestly don't know the exact deadlines from when they start and when they finish, but I do know that there is about a 2 or 3 week period where coaches actually are not allowed to contact athletes because it is a violation according to NCAA.
Well, okay, if you don't know the time, what's the purpose? Why do they do that?
Well, I think they do that to try to just allow the student athlete to just kind of focus on what they're doing and kind of take the pressure off of universities, as well as trying to overproduce or coach or whatever.
Basically, you're giving everybody a timeout.
Everyone gets a break, is what it is. And
timeout.
So, timeout. Everyone gets their own, their own break or their own timeout. And so it just allows the student athlete and the coaches or the universities to just kind of, hey, we've done what we can do up to this point. We're going to break it off, and then we'll be able to pick back up later on.
I think it makes sense, because I think even about with you and your recruiting process, there were times where we were so confused about what to do.
Right.
And you just need a break to maybe think about let me think about being a kid for a minute.
Sure.
I'm still in high school. Let me go to my winter dance, or let me go out with my friends, and
Right.
just give yourself a moment to breathe into the decision.
Right.
It's, I guess that makes sense to me. I should have.
Well,
that was obvious.
no, well, you know, and like I said, you know, it's changed over time, you know, and I still need to maybe go back and relook at the rules and regulations for that as well, because I don't fully know, because it was different from when I was getting recruited.
Right,
so,
right.
But, you know, kind of back to that, the recruiting topic, you know, like we've been mentioning, you know, or, you know, in the pre-production meeting, you know, it really is kind of a reflection on the coaching staff and the head coach as well about, you know, hey, how many top athletes can I bring into this school, and at least for this year, you know, who can I bring in?
Yeah, and I think that plays into signing day, you know, recruitment, and then you go
Right.
signing day, you have this national signing day. That really is less of a reflection about the athlete and more a reflection on the coach. Because in college, they don't have a draft day like you have in WNBA, NBA, NFL, MLB. All those pro sports have a draft and a
Right.
draft day.
Sure.
For these colleges, these coaches are being defined by who you're bringing into your program, and National Signing Day is really a validation or indictment of the coach and his ability to do his job. And so I think that's really where recruitment lands. It's about a lot, honestly, about the coach.
So social media aside, and you know, and recruiting letters and you know, informative letters aside, we've got a head coach right now in the Big Ten who has been in the news quite a bit, and we're talking about Jim Harbaugh here.
Whom I love.
He's a great coach. He's a phenomenal coach. He understands the X's and O's. He's played the quarterback position, and he's really done a really good job up to this point. Do you think that he's done too much, or do you think he's, you know, right on with what he's doing as far as recruiting to get these athletes? He got the #1 recruit overall, the #1 player overall to commit to a school. You know, some would say he's doing exactly what he needs to do to get these kids. What do you think about that?
I absolutely love it. I really do. We've seen a lot of media heat about him doing sleepovers or playing video games or climbing trees, or there's a video of him running around in those khaki pants with no shirt on.
Yeah.
But if you look at what he's actually doing, he's playing football. He does a pitch. It's a rollout to the left, the pitch. It is terrible. It was ugly. I pitch better than he does. Thumb down. But all that being said, I love it. I think that that's what recruiting should be. I get that coaches want to sit down in the living room and give you the stern talk about how we're going to take care of your young man, and if you play for me, son, I get that. But give me a coach who's out there having fun, who's playing with my child and showing me I'm willing to be in it with him. I'm willing to put my pride down. I'm willing to pick up a joystick and play a video game. I love it. I say, Mr. Harbaugh, keep doing what you're doing.
Right.
I think it's great.
I honestly don't have a problem with it either. You know, at this day and age, like we said, with social media, you know, you got to find certain ways to think outside the box. You got to find out certain ways to, you know, separate yourself from the traditional stern talking and when you get here, you know, there's other ways to skin it. You know, there's a million ways to skin a cat.
Why do you use the stern talking
Well,
voice?
you know, that's, you know, what you traditionally think about when it comes to, you know, coaches coming into your living room and talking to you and your family, and, you know, the movie Blue Chip, you know, in the early 90s, you know, it was a basketball movie, and, you know, there's a lot of things that have been done to, you know, lure, you know, certain players coming in.
Is that still going on, do you think?
Absolutely. And I don't want to sit here and deny that, because that's wrong. It is happening, you know.
Bags full of cash.
Bags full of cash, brand new vehicles, you know, all of it, the works. And so, you know, yeah.
Well, we'll get you a bag full of cash and a woman if you are playing at Louisville basketball. I mean, that's recruiting.
There is so much going on with recruiting that, you know, when you see somebody like Jim Harbaugh doing what he's doing, it's honestly kind of I don't want to say a breath of fresh air, but it's just cool to kind of see him taking it to a different level, and it's not just about, hey, I'm going to give you a bag full of cash or a gold Mercedes.
And a prostitute.
You know, I'm going to give you, you know, a lot of different things, you know, and a lot of that has to do with me. So
Right.
You know,
he's giving these kids himself.
Yes. So I think the recruiting process is awesome. You know, it's fun to be recruited by these big schools, and when you have a coach like that, you know, willing to kind of step outside the box, you know, it just means that you're willing to take a chance on that kid, and so it's just truly awesome.
So if you're in the recruiting process, enjoy it. If you're one of these coaches who sits in the living room and does this, take a look at what Jim Harbaugh's doing. It wouldn't kill you to loosen up a little bit.
And there's nothing wrong with having some fun and expressing yourself and letting loose a little bit. Well, there you have it from us on the deck. We appreciate your time. Thanks for watching, folks.
that was pretty good.
Where are the baking sheets? I'm trying to make some